Hello, this is Dr. Asan Abdullah with the course Web Applications Programming. And we have a sequence of three video lectures, which are 10A, 10B, and 10C. And that 10 is the topic number in the list of topics which are covered in this course. And the topic is PHP programming. Now, there's a topic PHP basics also, which covers the fundamentals and basics of PHP. That was topic number 9, and this topic number 10 that goes beyond the basic, and we do some interesting implementations, and I will explain the code to you. The code is given there, and you can copy paste the code and create those implementations and work with them and play with them. So this is divided into three parts: 10A, 10B, and 10C. And like all the videos, this video and the material is using and based upon the supplemental website easymcq.com/goget. Easymcq.com is a personalized learning management system, and I urge you to look at the videos, 6 videos, which explain and which show that how it's beneficial. And the approach is the question answer based approach along with the traditional approach. More stress on the question answer based approach because it's proactive and it is engaging and it solves real life problems. So these are the list of topics which are covered in this course. And topic number 10 is the topic which we are covering, which is PHP programming. And that topic is further divided into 15 questions and answers. And all of the questions and answers basically are concepts. So the first 5 question and answers are covered in the lecture 10A, and the next 5 are covered in 10B, and the last 5 are covered in 10C. So now we move to the supplemental website and work on the question and answers as per the lecture. So we start with the first set of Q&A for the video lecture 10A. And we start with the first: what is the PHP $_ post method? Now we discussed this method not in detail but briefly under PHP basics. So now we'll go into more detail. So what is this post method? So that we know that it's a super global array. It means that it is accessible in the script in all the pages at the server side, and the data which is sent through that post method, that transfer happens through the HTTP post, right? And of course this is different from the get method. And that data which is transferred from a page to another page, right, that data is accessible at the server side because the our PHP is running on the server side. That's the reason. And that data which is transferred, it is sent through the request body, not through the URL. Since it is not sent through the URL, therefore it is not visible in the URL. And how and when this data becomes available? After the form has been submitted. So maybe you have a registration form, or you have a contact us form, and you fill the form, and then you submit it through pressing a button. So when that button is pressed, then that data is sent to the server and then accessed after the form submission. And usually this is used for large data transfer because then of course if the data set is very large, it it clutters the URL space. So what it's a super global array used to collect the data from the form, right? And this is more secure. So this will be mentioned number of times. Secure, it's relative as compared to the get method, but get method has its own benefits which we will discuss. So since it's a super global array, so it is accessible, it is readable, it is referenceable throughout the script without needing to pass it between functions. right? So without needing to pass it bit. Of course, you need to pass it from one page to another page. You need to, because otherwise, how that value is going to be readable? You need to pass it, okay? And it holds the data automatically. So HTTP post requests to send data from the client to the server, right? And unlike GET, it is not appended to the URL. It is not appended to the URL. Okay. So that the data is accessed at the server side. It's accessed at the server side, and the server side it is processed, and maybe depending upon the value, HTML is generated, and that HTML is then used at the client side. So how the data is sent? The data is sent via the post included in the body of the HTTP request, right? And it allows transfer of larger and more complex data as compared to the GET, because GET, there is a limit to the size of the URL what you can pass. And since this data is not passed through the URL, so this data is not visible. This data is not visible. And it is sent post to the server. So this is kind of repetition. And this is used for large data transfer. I believe in PHP basics, I also mentioned the volume of data that can be transferred. So that was the post method. So what are the applications of the post method? Form submissions with sensitive data. Sensitive means that the data which you don't want to be visible in the URL, that is the sensitive data. And that sensitive data, okay, is passing from one page to another page in a form. So form submission with sensitive data. What is that sensitive data? That sensitive data is the login data. And what is that login data? That login data could be the username, that could be the password. And it is also used to uh, file uploads. So the files are uploaded without being kind of intercepted in between, or user registration also. So user registers with the username and password. So user registration. Content management system, API request again to for security reason, and processing large data. Large is relative term. Large in the context of or in with reference to GET. So API request, this is used send such as the JSON, XML, or form encoded data to a server. Okay. So what is the benefit? Structured data in the request for making API calls. And which type of API calls? Authentication calls. Authentication means like username and password. And it is also used for handling larger data sets. Larger is relative, larger as compared to the GET. And there are no limitations of the length of the URL. So you can send lengthy text, right, to the server without data being cut off or truncated. Because if the data is cut off or truncated, it will take a while for you to understand that it was getting truncated because of the limitations of the URL. So you should be aware of these things. All right. So what is the PHP underscore get method? It is again a super global array, like post underscore dollar underscore get is also super global. Data is again transferred via the HTTP, but uh, PHP post was via HTTP post, and this is through HTTP get. And data is sent in the URL. Actually, you can see all the data which is passed from between the pages, and you can not only see the data, but in the URL you can also modify that data and then do a submit and get the corresponding results. But there is a limitation of the URL size, so the data which can be passed in the URL is limited in the data size. And I said as before, data is visible, is accessed directly in the URL. So you can change it, and the benefit is that you can set the parameter values to pass to and give that URL with the parameter values to anybody. And when they copy paste it or click on it, then the corresponding results are displayed. It is very useful for pagination. And idempotent request method, it means that if you have that URL with the get method and you have certain values assigned to certain variables, if you keep on refreshing that page, it will keep on returning you the same results. So for example, you have data sent in the URL, data sent where the get is appended to the URL string, and that appending is followed by a question mark. So what we are seeing here, that key 1 gets a value of 1, value 1, and key 2 gets a value 2, and so on. And has limitations on the amount of data. What are the limitations? Are 2000 characters. So if it's beyond that, it will get truncated. So the data sent where $_ get is included in the URL. So you can view the URL, right? Therefore, it is visible to anyone who has access to the URL. So it can create security risks, okay? Especially when the passwords are being or personal details are being sent. So you must not send password or other details through the $_ get through the URL. And as I said, this is appended after a question mark, and there's a key value pair. Key value means that there is a key like this, key 1 and value 1. That's a key value pair. And idempotent means that the same get request multiple times will result in the same outcome without any side effects. So it should not modify the data. So what are the applications of PHP get method or $_ get method? Passing query parameters in the URL. So if there are, say, I don't know, say there are like there's 5 parameters, value pairs, which need to have certain values to retrieve certain data from the database. So those parameter values are embedded in the URL using the get method. URL based search functionality. So if I wanted somebody to search at easymcq.com for certain values, so I will put those values as subject is equal to this and topic is equal to this and question type is equal to this, and that's in the URL in the get method. So if they just copy paste it, then they will get the corresponding search result. So there is no ambiguity there. Pagination in website. So these values are when they are passed. Basically in pagination we are calling the same page again and again, which is in topic 15 also. So in that pagination we have the value of the parameter which is incremented, right? And that's how it works. So when we refresh, that's not idempotent, remember, because when we are doing pagination we are incrementing the limits. Tracking and analytics, this is also, I'll just briefly touch upon it. Pre-populating forms, we would like to have form certain values. So using this get method, $_ get, we can set the parameter values. Bookmarkable URLs, so you send a URL to somebody and they click on it and they see certain results. And displaying filtered results also. So tracking and analytics, okay, used to pass tracking parameters in the URL for analytics purposes. For example, landing page P is the that we are this is the page. So the variable which we are passing is source, and what is the value of the variable? Source Google and campaign. Okay, is Google, and then we are passing another value which is campaign. This is the parameter. I'm sorry, and this is the value spring sale. So after the question mark, we have multiple parameters, source and campaign, and they are they have the ampersand sign between them, and after the question mark, we have the variables. And of course, they will know that what was the variable values. So pre-populating first name is John and last name is Doe can pre-populate like form question mark, and so when that form is called, these values are using the get method, these are used to fill the form and display. And bookmarking, so for its category is electronics, you can see over here at the top of the page we see that we have the keyword is web and city is PHP, there's a space here, and then is programming. So using PHP, make a registration form to input data and explain its working. So let's look at so these are the lines. So the page for registration is divided into five, so to say five parts, or maybe it's four parts. So the HTML structure which is there, because that's the structure which we have discussed, and then is the body content, what will go into inside the body, and then the JavaScript, whatever functionality we would like to add, and then the closing tags and so on. So let's look at the code here. So the code is given here. Here's the code. So you can zoom in the code, right? And you can copy this code also for your benefit. But remember that when you copy the code, please be careful about this line numbers. You can remove these line numbers also. Remove line numbers before using the code. So this code is used to create this membership form. Nothing fancy about it, fairly simple form. And so what this form is showing is 1 to 7 is the HTML structure, HTML tag, and it's a membership form. So nothing very special here. 1 to 7. This is the part 1 to 7. This is up to the head part. Then is the body content, 8 to 75. So we have the first name with the password, the and password field. It's not going to show it. Then we have the radio buttons 32 34, favorite widget which is a drop down menu, and so on. So up from we have from 8 to 75 is the body. So 8 to 75, from 8 which the body starts, okay. Body starts and it goes all the way up to, like say for example we have this favorite widget, so that is a drop down. That's a drop down. Then the newsletter is, do you want to receive newsletter and do not want checkbox. So that is the widget, okay. This is an image, and you want to receive our newsletter, that's the checkbox. And then is the comments, which is the text area, and so on. So this is not something very special, but to give you an idea. So that's all what we have for this 10A. All right, thank you very much.